Melia Horner. I am 6.
Melia is kind of our spunky, fun, little entertainer. She's got great humor.
Lights up the room.
She's our sister.
A giggle box. She's really funny, and she always makes one of us laugh at some point. Happy. I almost never see her sad.
She kind of is a little bit of an actress at times, so she is always saying funny little one-liners.
She'll catch me off guard with a lot of her jokes.
Playing with friends and with her family is one of her favorite things, but she also loves all things horses. She's doing some horseback riding lessons.
Toby. That's a real horse. It's at my horse barn and I ride him. But I think his middle name is Topes the Topster. That's why I call him.
We have 4 kids. 2 are biological, 2 are adopted. We were pretty content with our family of 3 kids, but we had always talked about having a family with 4 kids. We went on the waiting child photo listing that's available through the adoption agency. And as we were scrolling through these many adorable children, our eyes landed on Melia, and we briefly read about her medical condition and thought, hey, this might be our daughter.
I read what they had to say about her, and it went on and on and on about her heart condition, none of which I understood. But at the very end it said, they call her the Smiling Buddha in the orphanage. And I thought, how could you possibly go wrong?
So they sent us her medical file, and we had that reviewed by a local cardiologist who gave us a very realistic idea of what her prognosis might be like.
It's extremely rare. It's a condition that we call IDD. The atrium are in the opposite position that they should be, and the great vessels are in the opposite position that they normally would be. And in Melia's case, her heart is in her right chest rather than her left chest.
And the doctor explained to me that her left ventricle is doing the systemic work. Whatever that, and the right ventricle was doing the pulmonary work. But then he explained to me that her quarterback is playing lineman and her lineman is playing quarterback. That made complete sense.
And we saw Melia's picture and our hearts just were drawn to her. I don't know, something changed in us and we were quickly turning toward, we can handle congenital heart disease, sure, bring it on. But I will say that when we talked with Dr. Fletcher at Children's Hospital, and he gave us this prognosis that said, you know, she's doing fine now, but her heart really isn't made to last the way that it is, probably. And so she'll need some interventions to give her more longevity and more quality of life as she ages. And we had to really process through whether we thought we could handle that kind of a prognosis.
It hit me really hard that Melia Horner is a real person, and she's already on this earth.
And so she can either figure out how to manage that on her own in China, or she can do that in the context of a loving family.
So let's go ahead and adopt her.
So then on the day that we were going to meet her, we went to a civil affairs office in Shijiazhuang, and we waited there about an hour, and then Miss Lee from the orphanage, along with another orphanage worker, brought this just bundle of bread into us. It was amazing because within the first 15 minutes of meeting her, she was smiling, she was giggling, which is not everyone's adoption story. It was just really evident from the beginning that she had a sweet and delightful, happy disposition. She was finally real. This is a really exciting moment. My initial consultation was with Dr. Fletcher at Children's Hospital, and basically he said that everything inside is flip-flopped.
So there's like four little like bedrooms in there. So like there's like a working hard one and a not so working hard, but they switched.
The procedures Melia has had done that have been surgical have been pulmonary artery band and then subsequent tightening of her band, all in an effort to train her left ventricle to have more usable muscle mass.
It was pretty difficult to see all the tubes and wires and the chest incision and all that, but she seemed to be doing pretty well until later in that night when her blood pressure started to do some pretty crazy things. And it's not a good thing when all the nurses and all the doctors come into your room in the middle of the night at the same time. The machines started beeping and I don't know what was going on with her breathing, but they had to start bagging her, which is where they like take a bag and they pump oxygen into her. And that was very frightening. I really started praying pretty hard that things would turn around. Fortunately, they did. 5 days later, she literally ran out of the hospital on ibuprofen, which is crazy.
I want to dance with Dr. Fletcher at the heart ball, and I like to dance with people. Oh, he's nice, and he takes care of me. He gives me shots. He loves me.
It's comforting to know that what's available to her is not only better, but it's continuing to improve. Research is everything when it comes to learning and figuring out how to handle Melia's heart condition. Without the American Heart Association, the funding for that research would be significantly less. And so it gives us so much hope that the American Heart Association is funding that research, which will, I know, someday save her life.
There's this huge organization that's funding important research so that kids can live wonderful, healthy lives with a lot of quality too. So I'm thankful for the American Heart Association.